according to one official who spoke to the Post, quote, Ghani would want to talk about the digitization of the economy. It had nothing to do with the dire threat, end quote. Keep in mind, Ghani, no background in any relevant discipline. The guy was a college professor who worked at Johns Hopkins. We picked some completely incompetent tool from American academia rather than like an actual Afghan who could run the country. Of course we did, because Tony Blinken liked him, and people like Tony Blinken liked him. So the president of Afghanistan's flaky personal behavior reportedly raised some red flags with U.S. officials. That would include Frank McKenzie, the head of Central Command. The Post reports that McKenzie was, quote, mystified by Ghani's behavior. The question is, did anyone in the Pentagon do anything about it? Well, of course they didn't. Nothing. They just pretended everything was fine because they're dumb. As the Taliban swept through Afghanistan, the State Department wasn't reaching out to Ghani to figure out where he was or what he was doing. Instead, Tony Blinken and his deputies were working to get other countries to sign a statement to send to the Taliban, urging them to let Americans out of the country. Ultimately, that statement was signed by military powerhouses like Haiti, Papua New Guinea, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. That's what the Secretary of State thinks is significant. Getting Papua New Guinea and Congo and Haiti to sign some stupid document that means nothing? These are children. But no one's apologizing for it. They won't even acknowledge they screwed up. They're not having a moment of self-reflection about why were they on the phone with the government of Haiti as American citizens were trapped in Afghanistan run by our new friends, the Taliban. They're never going to explain why they did this, why they put the safety of thousands of American citizens in the hands of a president who didn't care enough to stick around. And of course, that president, Ghani, isn't apologizing either. He was trained by the U.S. after all. He was educated at Columbia. And he's taken millions of dollars we've given him and we fled, all while claiming to be a hero who left his country to avoid more bloodshed rather than what he clearly is, which is a coward. Meanwhile, his kids, they're Americans, of course. They've got U.S. passports. They're living in million-dollar properties in Washington, D.C. and Brooklyn and demanding that this country accept as many Afghan refugees as possible. His son, by the way, worked for Pete Buttigieg on the presidential campaign. That tells you everything. So to choose a president of Afghanistan, our brain-dead ruling class chose someone just like them. Of course they did. Suddenly, a lot of what we've seen over the past 20 years in Afghanistan, in particular over the past 4 months, makes sense. The experts in the State Department and the CIA took trillions of dollars to install people in Afghanistan who are every bit as clueless as they are. Remember, it was in June that U.S. intelligence was predicting that the Ghani government would remain intact for 6 months. As recently as this month, Mark Milley said he had no intelligence suggesting the Taliban would take over Afghanistan quickly.
There was nothing that I or anyone else saw that indicated a collapse of this army and this government in 11 days.
So they believed that. They actually believed it because the incompetents around him kept repeating it like it was true, and they bought it. And that's one of the reasons the Pentagon abandoned Bagram Air Base, which would have been, of course, a much easier place